Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cinematic Trinity, where we talk movies, games and TV shows. And this week, me and Kieran are going to be talking about The Boys, Season 4. So let's get into it. So yes, another season of The Boys has been and gone.
Yep.
So the sort of superhero show on Amazon Prime. I really like this show, like, as a whole. It's one of my favourite, like, ongoing TV series at the moment. I don't know quite where it sits with, like, you in terms of, like, programmes at the moment.
Yeah, I don't really know, because I don't watch as many TV shows as you do, from, like, the modern, like, what's currently releasing.
Right,
So,
yeah.
in terms of the quality between what else is releasing, like, I don't really have a comparison. I think The Boys is really good. And, like, I started off a little bit kind of, like, I started watching it because everyone else was watching it, and you guys, like, you know, and to have something to talk with you guys about, you know, like, like another thing I wanted to join in on the conversations kind of thing. And, you know, that, like, I started off a little bit slow for me, but it has, like, over time, like, become, like, something that I do quite enjoy.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, almost like your anti-Marvel thing. It's like an R-rated superhero show, so it's not like, you know, it's full of, like, gore, it's full of, like, swearing, it's just... It's not your typical Marvel or like DC movie. It is its own thing. It's based on its own like comic book, but yeah, it's just known for being very out there, very mature, and yeah, I think as a whole it tells quite a good mature story,
Yes.
and there are some good shocking bits here. So yeah, season 4 is just the continuation of this story. We're not really going to go like episode by episode because we're not doing like a breakdown. It's more our general thoughts on the series because I feel like there is a good amount of stuff to talk on.
Yes.
But yeah, I think this is your spoiler warning.
Spoilers ahead.
So yeah, going into like season 4, I think basically, how do you describe like the overarching plot of this series?
I mean, the main thing which is like being addressed throughout the entire story is that they want Newman to be president.
Yeah.
So they want to get a Soup in as president so that they can put in new laws to give Soups more favourable demands. And obviously Homelander wants to be number one.
Yeah.
So he kind of employs every way he can to get that. So we like, you know, we get Sage on board.
Yeah.
Who's like the smartest person in the world. From her power. And she's like, you know, when you think about it, she's actually probably one of the scarier bits of the show because of how, you know, it's not even like she's evil for a reason. She's just evil because, like, she wants to see if she can do it, kind of thing. She wants to see if, like, the plan that she sets can be achieved.
I really liked, like, the addition of her character in the show because it's kind of like... Homelander has this overall plan he wants to achieve. It's basically, getting Soups in power and essentially kind of taking over.
Yeah.
But how's he going to do it? So they're like talking about new members to join the team. They're like, oh, and then there's Sister Sage. She's the smartest person. And he kind of takes that on board to be like, right, this is the person that's going to help me do this. And like from the first episode onwards, like it is just, she's coming up with these ideas. There's a bit of few misdirections, like, oh, is this part of the plan? And then it actually turns out to be. So she is like a really good, and she's like complex as well. Like she's got some good moments because she is the smartest person alive, but she also has these moments where she can like lobotomize herself and then like be dumb because her brain like heals so fast. So like there's some interesting stuff between her and the Deep.
Those scenes were so uncomfortable for me. I was literally like wincing the entire time while watching them because essentially what the Deep does is she stabs a needle up like through her eye duct, like a tear duct, and then like into her brain to lobotomize her. And then you like see the blood. Oh no, I can't.
Yeah,
it's
I found it. I did like the twist they did where like every time like they hook up, the Deep has to like do that to like get her in the mood kind of thing. But then it turns out she's been like having like a relationship with Black Noir as well, and they don't have to do that. Like she's kind of like fully into that. Like he doesn't have to make her dumb to be with Black Noir, which I thought that was quite a funny like twist on things.
Because that was only like one little sentence, like a 10-second clip as well, and it's just like, oh, it's so funny.
It's a good bit of payoff, I think.
Yeah, because Deep is just, I mean, well written because you want to hate him.
Yeah, he's just the evil version of Aquaman, isn't he? But he's like you know, he's like a sexual deviant. Like he from the first season, he like just harasses like Starlight, and it sort of goes on. He gets like cancelled, gets kicked off, gets brought back in. It's like a whole like political thing with him. Like all the politics of taking him out and putting him back in the team. But yeah, he's gone evil. He's joined like Homelander in this season, but yeah, he gets a few good moments as well. I feel like all the characters do. There's some moments with him where he has like, because he's like Aquaman, his like gross out stuff is he has relationships with sea animals.
I don't think that's the worst thing. I like, you know, like him talking to the octopus and stuff.
No, it's fine. Yeah, but you know, he's also having sex with like the.
Oh yeah, but you don't see it. I would say the lobotomizing is worse than him.
Yeah. I think that's the dark side of like deep side character, because it's like, oh, he's like Aquaman, he can like communicate with animals, he's like superhuman, stuff like that. But he also like does these things with the sea animals because he can talk to them and actually form like a relationship. So that's like his thing. Because he has an octopus girlfriend who's voiced by Tilda Swinton, which is weird. She did a very good job.
Yeah.
So you get the moment where he like kills her, and that's like very. That was very. They kind of go for comedy there, but then I don't know. I feel like that scene went on a bit too long for me. But
I don't know. I know some people have said that they liked it because it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you think it's over, and then it comes back again.
Yeah.
Like, so some people enjoyed it. You know,
it went on a bit too long for me because they did that too many times. Because it'd be like she dies, like, oh, bye, Deep, I love you. And then it kept happening again. So this is really just the final episode. Like that kind of happens like the final 2 episodes. The other new character they throw into this season is Firecracker. Okay. The show likes to comment on like politics and like, you know, different sides of like the spectrum. So like, she's very much like right wing, like conspiracy theorist, like they're putting stuff in the water, like stuff like that. So I quite liked her as well. Like her addition was very good. Like she is the other end of the spectrum to like Sister Sage, whereas like she's very smart and like collected. Firecracker's not like she's just crazy and like not very smart.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, she kind of like, you know, she has not intelligence, but kind of, you know, she has different kind of like smarts about her because like she is trying to like get further up and like closer to the top with Homelander by like doing things that he, you know, will see as favourable and stuff.
Yeah.
In the end, backfires on her. But yeah, it's, you know, and she gets kind of like her like hosting show and, you know, all those things. Her career really like booms after
she goes from like a small online like presence, like sort of again like conspiracy theorist, then she joins the Seven, like this version like the Justice League or like the Avengers, and they give her like her own talk show where she can just spout this conspiracy theory like theories to a wider audience and like cause further like unrest basically, because they bring Firecracker on as like the like antagonist like Starlight, because Starlight is one of the good guys. She works with the boys to like try and take down the Homelander like on multiple occasions. So she has like her own charities. Then Firecracker's there like saying it's like a front to like abducting children. So that's all she's there for. They kind of tie back to the two of them actually knowing each other as kids, and they have like a bit of tension between those two, which again that like works well to explore their characters as well. But I think really good like additions to the cast like this year around. Like again, I feel like The Boys is good at adding new characters whilst not quite detracting from like I feel like everyone still gets equal screen time here. Like it's the same when they added like Soldier Boy in like the last series. Like I really like Soldier Boy. And then of course like, you know, the main cast as well, they're all still very good performance wise, all still very stellar. Anthony Starr as Homelander is just he's, you know, he gets like he has his moments get better like every series. I think
he had like it was like a different kind of like intimidation this time as well. Because whereas like before, you know, like when you go back to like season 1 and you think of like the flight that they were on, and he was like, you know, I'm not gonna go and like save all these people. That's just like such a, you know, that's a lot of effort, kind of thing. And it was like kind of scary because he just like his lack of care, and then like you see like slowly as time goes on, like his mind like warping and
like it's almost like every season ends with like him going further and further into like madness. Because like the first series he is kind of like a celebrity who's starting to go down this dark path. Then like
Yeah.
the second series, he like, you know, he knows he has a son. Then his son goes and like joins the boys because like he's scared of him. So then that breaks his mind a bit more. And then like season 3, his dad tries to, Soldier Boy tries to kill him. So like his dad tries to kill him. He gets his son back, and then he kills someone at the end of the series, and that's when like the public don't care, like they still love him. So he's kind of like, I can do anything I like. And then this season is more further down the rabbit hole, like he is just trying to take power. And like you get episode 4, like I think across the board's like been regarded as like a really good episode. That's when he goes back to like the laboratory where he was like experimented on like as a kid, when because they grew him in like a test tube. He's basically Homelander's like Superman, so it's just them putting him through all these different ordeals, like, you know, superheat or like keeping him isolated, stuff like that. So that was I think his performance there was quite sadistic and quite good.
I mean, it was very intense scene and you know, everything like that. And just, I mean, oh god, you just like, you can really, you feel like you're there in the room with like those other people that are they're just working there. And they're like,
What's Homeland?
Oh no, am I gonna die here?
Yeah, I think every time Homelander's on screen, you don't know what he's gonna do.
No.
Like, because they're so good at like just on a dime, he'll kill someone or he'll say something, and you'll be like, what's gonna happen here? Like, no one really feels safe of like Homelander in the room, and there's some good. He just continues to be good. He's a good villain for the show, and I think they just keep making him better. Which, like, again, when season 5, the final season, comes round, I hope they do a good way to like get rid of, like, to take down Homelander, like what they're going to do
definitely
with his character. I guess we can move on to the actual boys themselves. I guess in terms of the biggest character change, probably be Bully
Butcher.
Billy Butcher. So at the end of the last season, he's been taking like temporary Compound V, which gives him superpowers for like 24 hours. He abused that, so now he's essentially got like 6 months left to live. He's got a black mass surrounding his brain, is how Homelander puts it. So yeah, basically Butcher for the most part is essentially, he's just dying like throughout the season.
He's not well.
No. But it's also like the end twist, like what happens with him is, again, like that you don't quite see it coming, like the way it like develops it, because there's a bit in like I think episode 3 or 4 where he's been attacked by a superhero and then cuts to black and then the blood everywhere.
Yeah, that was Ezekiel.
Like the Mr. Fantastic stretchy guy. Blood everywhere. It's like, what happened here? Who killed? How did he kill Ezekiel? And then it transpires that his cancer or like his tumors and like his body have been like basically like mutated by regular Compound V, because he thought if he took the normal like superhero serum, it'd make him better, like, or heal him. It didn't, but yeah, it turns out it actually just mutated his cancer to be like tentacles which can rip superheroes apart. And that's like a manifestation of this, is he just hallucinates. So what did you think of the...
I really liked the hallucination. There were like a couple scenes that they did that I thought were really good, and it was like when Bella was... That is Bella, isn't it?
Becca, his wife, yeah.
When Becca was there, and then Kessler was also there. And then like Becca's telling him not to do something, and then Kessler just like tells her to like shut up or something.
Yeah.
And then like you can see Butcher's like, wait, you can see her? Like,
yeah, you can see my dead wife. Like, you can see me.
That was a really good twist as well, because then like there's like certain bits from the scenes before, like when you first meet Kessler, they like Butcher and him have like. Butcher gets like 2 drinks and puts them down. You never actually see Kessler take a drink.
Yeah.
So there's like little things like that you know you can notice when you've seen the twist. And
it was because I at the time I was like, people were like theorizing about like, is Joe Kessler real? And like when you got that in your mind, you're like looking out for stuff like that. But like they do it well, because like they are just talking majority of the time. But I think especially in like the episode beforehand, they kidnap somebody and then like Billy's talking to Joe, and then like the guy who they've kidnapped is like, who he like is looking to be like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh god, maybe he isn't real. And then the way they executed that was brilliant, because it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen here? So he's constantly, and I like afterwards where like he will just appear in like a scene and then like disappear. It'll be like, you know, if he like 1 minute he's in a chair, 1 minute he's not. Like they do that really well when he's like talking to the boys, and then he will like occasionally let slip that he's like seeing stuff, or like be like, oh no, I'm not doing this, and he has to like, oh crap, I was saying that to my hallucination, I wasn't saying that to anybody.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And then like, yeah, basically Billy Butcher becomes the almost like another bad guy like at the end of the season.
I mean, he's the boys already sit in that kind of
Middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so like they are kind of better than the Supes, but they still steep to kind of low measures to do what they need to do. And Butcher, I feel like, had quite a big kind of turmoil within himself, whether to like try and do well by Ryan, or whether he just needs to like, you know, kill him because it's another Supe.
Yeah.
And that's the whole like kind of like the angel and devil on the shoulder with Becca and
because like
Kessler.
Becca's like like for the minute she's like properly gone,
Yeah.
like as well, like after the Kessler reveal happens and you know he's not real, like Becca's like she's just
she
nowhere to
didn't
be
show
found.
up again. Yeah,
And like even when, because I guess like after that point as well, like there were moments where almost like Butcher was arguing with Joe, like being like, oh, I'm not going to kill Ryan because I made a promise to my wife because it's like her son. And like the bit where Ryan's on TV and he does that speech and it's like, see, he is good, like he's got some goodness
yeah.
in him. But yeah, like
And then after that point as well, he falls unconscious at the bar, doesn't he? And it's like the Kessler's like intentionally
making
like,
him sicker,
making him more sick.
Yeah, and then like the turning point to like basically where everything goes wrong and he kind of goes down a more darker path is they sort of bring in Ryan to be like, look, you're our last hope. Like we essentially need to train you to kill Homelander. That's what the plan is. Ryan says no, because he's been like in a weird thing this season, because at the end of the last one, Homelander basically took him with him because that's, you know, he is Homelander's son.
Yeah.
And like there's a whole thing of like, you know, is he going to be like Homelander? What's going to happen here? Because there's points where, you know, he is still compassionate and like he can't quite, like, he doesn't like killing people or stuff like that. But then Homelander's like, you know, people are just playthings. So he has a brief moment where he does like kind of subtly torture somebody by getting someone else to like slap them over and over again. And he's there like, oh, this is kind of good.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, like the final episode, he is there with essentially like his grandmother like figure, because the person Grace, who like adopted, like almost kind of like adopted him in the last series, she's there like, yeah, we need you to kill Homelander, like come with me, we'll train you. And he just like pushes her against the wall and like snaps her neck. I was a bit like, oh god. And then he kind of looks at her like he doesn't really care, and then just walks off. So again, you don't know quite where Ryan's going to sit, like in the next series, like if he's going to be good or bad.
It was kind of a weird one as well, because Butcher's like relationship with Ryan up until that point, like it was, you know, a little bit of turmoil, but he tried to do it in a way where he didn't make Ryan feel like he had to stay or he had to do anything. It was kind of like Butcher was playing the long game, and then in that last scene they just kind of fumbled it. Like I feel like telling him the whole truth there was the right option, but then Grace not letting him leave is what like caused the issue. Because if you let Ryan go, then he thinks about things and then he can come back, and you know, maybe if he's not straight away willing to kill Homelander, he'll at least be more willing to be kind of on your side kind of thing.
Yeah, because he knows Butcher means well as well, and especially like he knows that Butcher loved his mum, like, and his promise was to take care of him. Like he knows that. But yeah, is this conflict inside of him? Like, does he want to protect his dad, Homelander, or can he actually face up and, you know, kill him for Butcher? Because that there's a few bits like that in the series where like even Homelander's like, why am I not good enough for you? Why do you care so much about Butcher? Like Butcher hates you kind of thing. So that's really good. And then when Grace dies and Ryan walks away, that's when like a defeated kind of Butcher looks to Joe and says like, right, do what you gotta do, like, which then that's interesting. Kind of like, I don't know how you kind of view it, because he kind of like afterwards he gives in to Joe and then like he kind of becomes better again, because in the next scene he's not like deteriorating, he's kind of like full black, like his hair's gone back to full cover, he's not grey or anything, he doesn't look tired. So I don't know whether that's just like him giving into his almost like giving into his power and not reject. I don't really know.
It's like a symbiotic thing, isn't it? It's very kind of, well, for me it was like quite reminiscent of like Venom's kind of powers.
Right. Yeah.
Because like, you know, the tendrils like kind of came out of his chest.
Yeah.
And then they went back in and it was like fully healed. So it was like nothing there. But yeah, I wonder now that Butcher is like fully on board with what Kessler's saying because of what happened to Grace, they're perfectly in sync, so they can just, you know, work in
Yeah.
tandem rather than like destroying each other.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily that Butcher's dead and it's like Joe Kessler now. It is still, but like Butcher is there. He's just kind of given in and gives like Kessler more control, so he can actually use his power more. And yeah, it leads to sort of him killing Newman. Basically, that's all the secondary. I don't know if you want to call her like a secondary antagonist or like the main objective, sort of stopping her from becoming vice president and then president. So because at that point, Huey's like, we'll make a deal with her, we'll keep her safe. And then, Butcher walks in, says, no, we're not doing that. Tentacles come out and just rips her in half.
That was a definite, like, I was not expecting that at all.
No.
When Newman called up Huey, like, I was not expecting her to die.
No.
So that was a really good surprise that they did. But I feel like they did it, I don't know if you feel the same, but maybe they did it a little bit too late. Because I feel like, if they'd maybe done that either earlier in the episode or at the very end of episode 7, and then like kind of showed some consequences in episode 8.
I don't know. I remember thinking when I was watching it, like, oh, there's only like 10, 15 minutes left. What's going to happen here? And then it all like kicks off at like the end. So I don't know. I feel maybe you're right. It could have been like a bit earlier because otherwise it kind of felt maybe a bit slower at the start. I don't know, but yeah, I think her death, like, it was well done. I mean, probably doing it in this season made sense because it just added to the stakes at the.
Oh yeah, I
end
wouldn't have put it at the start of the next season.
No. So I think probably for where it was, I don't think there was necessarily a problem with it. I think it was fine, but yeah, it's only like. How he did it was basically just covered her eyes and then he killed her. So I was like, oh, I guess would that have just been a thing? Like if they somehow managed to get like a soup strong enough to like cover her eyes, then they could just try and do whatever. But I don't know whether.
Well, I mean, he did literally rip her in half. So,
but then I guess it'd be finding a soup strong enough to do that, wouldn't it? Because I mean, Homelander could very easily do that just because Victoria's like Newman's powers are basically blowing people's heads off, like controlling blood.
It's blood manipulation. It's not
yeah.
just. I don't think it's just heads.
No, yeah. So she can like blow off body parts, stuff like that. So I think whereas Homelander, it doesn't seem to work on him. I don't quite know the justification as to why. I don't know if it's like he's got too much compound V in his blood, maybe, or something like that, and that's like it's not strictly blood, and she can't do it. But I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter anymore because she's dead.
She's dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So like and. I guess to move on to sort of the other boys before we talk maybe like the few bits of the finale. What do you think about Huey? Because I feel like, especially talking like Isaac and stuff, Huey kind of got put through the ringer like this season.
Yeah, I mean, Huey's never had a good time of it. Mm-hmm. He did not have a good time of it in this season at all.
No.
Anything bad that could happen to him did happen to him.
Justified though, like in terms like warranted.
Justified?
In terms of, no, but like in terms of like growing, like in terms of like the story, like growing the story and like growing his character. Do you think justified on the whole, or?
I'm not sure if the bit with his dad where he got temporary V and started killing people around the hospital. I'm not sure if that was necessarily. I don't know. Would it have had the same effect if his dad had just died in the coma rather than killed like 10 different people and.
I liked that, to be fair, because I mean that was like another thing like in the run up to it, like theories and stuff, because there's like a thing in the comics where if someone dies, like Compound V basically just resurrects them as like a zombie and they like don't have like brain capacity, they just speak a few words, whereas like in this, like his dad has a stroke, they give him Compound V, he still like remembers, he kind of like remembers stuff, his memory does like dwindle, but he just kind of teleport everywhere like Huey did in season 3. But yeah, he does like end up killing a few people, and then he kind of turns like murderous towards his ex-wife Huey's mum, which that's like some drama. I didn't mind that episode because that's like it's a like there is a message about Huey being able to let things go like for the good of things, because he was like, you couldn't let your childhood cat die, like I had to make that choice, whereas now Huey makes the decision to let his dad let him pass on peacefully rather than try and prolong his life with Compound V. I thought Simon Pegg was good. I really liked him as like he gave a really good performance.
I've never seen Simon Pegg in a role where he's like giving like intimidation or like murderous intent. Yeah. But I feel like he did actually do it quite well.
It's because like it's just on all of the confusion, is it, like of the situation, and then he just like you're intimidated by him because you're like, what's he gonna do next? Like he doesn't know what's going on.
Like you see like real rage and hatred behind his eyes, and he does it he really does do it quite well.
Yeah.
So,
But I
hats
thought,
off to him.
yeah, I thought that episode was good. Yeah, I feel like what they did for Huey like there was good, but it's kind of like the stuff that follows like afterwards, because like immediately after that episode is the Tech Night
stuff
in the like the sex dungeon, which is a bit like Huey goes undercover, goes into this dungeon, like basically becomes like a sex slave there. And like, Tech Knight's doing all this stuff. Ashley comes in, does all this stuff. We won't go into too much detail.
Yeah.
So like, that got like a whole bunch of like, come on, we've literally just had this good episode with like him and his dad. Like, why are we putting him through this almost for like comedy? Because like, the whole point is there is to find out stuff about Homelander's plan, and like they do find out stuff about it. But on the whole, it's like, did he really need to go through all of what he did? Like, you couldn't have just done like one scene maybe of him doing something, but no, it just continues on, and then sort of after that you get kind of, I don't even know if it's played up for laughs or not, but it's kind of like him and Annie are talking normally, and that's when he goes, oh, I'm not alright about this, like I need to process this. But it's like, I didn't know if that was almost played up for laughs, like, oh, he said he was fine afterwards, and now he's like, oh no, I'm really not. Okay.
I don't think that bit was played up for laughs.
I didn't know. I think I found that a bit weird after watching it, but whether again it's just what he went through in that episode was just probably a bit too much.
Because he was forcing himself into a situation so he didn't have to think about his dad. But then he realised after going through another traumatic event that he really needed time to process what
more
happened.
like get over what happened with his dad rather than what happened in the sex dungeon, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not him. Obviously he is not okay with what happened in the sex dungeon and stuff. But it's he's lost his dad. He needs time to heal, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that flips. Actually, that makes more sense to me. And then sort of again, what he goes through as well is there's another twist where
the shapeshifter.
Yeah, the shapeshifter. Which, to be fair, as a side note, as like shapeshifting goes, that was actually a pretty cool like effect how they did it, because in this universe, this particular shapeshifter, it's not like an instant now I'm somebody else. They have to like sort of touch
Peel
the person,
their skin off.
yeah, they like touch the person, I guess, get their sample, and then they like rip everything off basically to then become this new person, which is really cool. They do it with Starlight. Basically Starlight gets kidnapped by the shapeshifter, and then the shapeshifter pretends to be her. They go back to like, her and Huey just spend some time together. They do some stuff. Huey obviously doesn't know because it's a copy of Starlight,
and she has all of her memories as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting. If it was like one of those shapeshifter, like, oh, I have no idea what Starlight's about, but no, literally inherits everything about
all
her.
of her memories,
so
all
it's
of her feelings. It's just
a carbon copy, like basically. So yeah, they do some stuff. She was there to get some information, like blackmail information they had about Newman for when she became like vice president and stuff to use against her. She deletes that, and then is basically going to act as like an assassin for the current president. So then obviously Newman can become the new president afterwards. Did you kind of like the way that Huey like twigged it? Because I think when I was watching the scene, like how he twigged that it was a shapeshifter was kind of a bit. I can't remember the time thinking that was a bit weird how he twigged it. Just because I know obviously it's a carbon copy. How else are you going to tell or something?
Yeah.
But he kind of twigs that it's the shapeshifter because she says a line that the shapeshifter said before. It's like, it's like a furnace in here.
But then it's kind of like she does. Like he notices things that, like the shapeshifter had done as Annie, and he's like, "Wait, hold on a minute. That's not something Annie would do." And he does say that at one point, like she wears like a really kind of, like a prom dress, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas like normally whenever she gets home, she'd be in like really comfortable clothes and stuff because that's what she preferred to be in. And And, like he says, like those little things when he speaks to Annie later on. So I don't mind that, Huey kind of found, like, was the one to realise. And I like the, that they did the dolly zoom, or whatever it's called. The one that they do in Jaws, when he, like, sees, like, a shark out of sea. The one where they, like, move the camera out but zoom in.
Yeah.
I like that they did that. But then I thought the bit where Huey's trying to tell MM, that bit was a bit, it was unnecessary.
I did mind the bit afterwards where, because he kind of explains, like, Annie's the shapeshifter. I did mind the bit where But then I didn't mind it, but then also like, come on, like you guys have been through so much by this point, because they're kind of like they're like being really nervous, like yeah, okay, Annie, and then like Mother's Milk's like doing that with his hands, and that's when the shapeshifters there like they know who I am. I'm compromised.
That bit I didn't mind.
Yeah.
It was the bit where Huey was like, right, just stand next to me and don't look at me. And then MM's like, wait, I'm just gonna look at you. And Huey's like, no, don't look at me.
Yeah.
What you just do at that point, the shifter's far enough away.
Yeah.
Just go up to MM and just go, Annie's the shifter.
Yeah.
And they've worked together for long enough. They should trust each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like bits of that scene were done well, bits of it weren't.
Yeah, I think for me, because they kind of like established that, you know, the shapeshifter needs to like recharge, like almost.
Yes.
So like her skin will start peeling off, so she needs to like go find Annie, who she's held hostage, like touch her to then get like a refill. I thought it was almost going to be like they're trapped in the bunker with the president, like maybe like a bit of a skin would start peeling off, and then that would clue like Huey on to be, you know, then be like, oh crap, it's the shapeshifter. But that, yeah. I feel like that would have probably been it for me, like if he saw like a little bit, like maybe if the ring was digging in too much or something, and then rather than like the line saying, oh, it's like a furnace in here, and then he gets the flashbacks. But I think as a whole, the principle of the shapeshifter was a really cool concept.
Yes.
And like you didn't quite know where it was going, like because I thought, oh, is Huey gonna they're gonna shapeshift into Huey now? They've like been together, but kind of gets dealt with fairly easily. Like they get into a fight in the bunker, the president doesn't get killed. Starlight, the real one, shows up and basically sort of like chokes the shapeshifter out. So there's not much like that. That's kind of done. I was a bit surprised. I thought she like knocked her out. So I was like, oh, are they gonna like interrogate the shapeshifter or something?
But no, they just say they killed her.
Yeah, like, oh no, she's dead. And then like it gives way to the rest of the episode with the, you know, Butcher and Newman and stuff like that, which is cool. To wrap up, so with the final, what happens, like what you want to see in like season 5. I don't know if there's any other sort of notes of the season you wanted to add or anything before.
Frenchie and Kimiko, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've always liked those two characters,
Yeah.
so I'm happy that they got more like screen time together. And obviously there was, you know, at the start of the season, Frenchie's going through this stuff because he's kind of in a relationship with someone that he killed the family of, and you know, Kimiko's trying to, you know, support him and stuff, but Frenchie's being very closed off and not being like, you know, entirely transparent with her, which, you know, hurts her feelings because, you know, they're meant to be like very close. And then obviously he goes to prison for like an episode or two.
Yeah, that was always one, like, could he just not film that day? Because the whole thing is like, you know, he's in prison and doesn't want to see her. Like, it makes sense, like, story-wise. But yeah, you're kind of like, did he not just want to like show up that day? Was he not?
I don't get why he didn't want to see her. Like, I think they said that he was like, he didn't feel like he deserved to see her kind of thing.
Well, the whole thing is like Frenchie's just punishing himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's like been like a hitman essentially, like his whole life, like working for the Russian mob and then Butcher and stuff like that. So he beats himself up about it, and like him and Kimiko are very similar. Like Kimiko has her own like demons. Like she was in like basically like a slave, like in this private like militia, and she like fight people to the death and stuff. So she's like killed countless people, like just because she had to, because she was forced to. So they both beat themselves up about it. So they're like literally in the same boat, just they don't, like, they kind of need to communicate that to each other. But yeah, the prison stuff was weird, because then like the next episode it's like, oh yeah, I got him out. Like Butcher's like, yeah, here's Frenchie, we got him out. he's like, okay, Frenchie's back then, I guess.
But then like at least Frenchie's like, you know, I think he says, you know, I'm here against my will kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
I've stayed in prison kind of thing.
And I like that Kimiko doesn't immediately like kind of go to him after that, because obviously she's really hurt by what Frenchie did. So yeah, I quite like that bit. And then obviously you get the bit with the Newman's husband.
Oh, Samir,
where he stabs Kimiko with the virus, and you know, that's like quite an intense scene because they've just kind of reconciled, and then like, you know, there's imminent threat of her dying, and you know, it's just a very kind of intense scene, followed by very gory
cuts her leg off
her leg.
Are you glad that they because they get together, don't they? Like in the end, they actually do. Like, I've seen a few people like being like, why did they do the whole like Colin stuff, and like, you know, because it was like the second episode where Kimiko's like, yeah, look, we're not gonna happen. They do a good thing of like saying, like, Kimiko just goes, yeah, I kind of told you that because almost like don't want my baggage to go onto you, like, because you know I've been through so much, don't want you to like take that on. So again, it's like they're both as bad as each other.
Yeah.
They just need to talk to each other about it. So I liked that they got together in the end, because it has been like a long build up, and like I'm glad they did go down that route, because no, essentially like the Colin stuff at the beginning, like, what, I thought Frenchie was going to be with Kimiko. What's actually happening here?
Yeah.
But yeah, were you glad that they
I'm still not sure, but I'm happy that they are close.
You're happy that they're happy?
I'm happy. I'm happy. If everyone else is happy, I'm happy. But then obviously that was bittersweet because it lasted for what, 5 minutes.
Yes. So yeah, the actual how the series ends. So yeah, after the whole like Newman gets killed, basically everything just goes to hell afterwards.
Yes.
So Homelander's plan has actually succeeded, because like Sage, you know, everything came into, you know, everything was as she wanted it to be. So yeah, Newman's dead. They find out the president wanted her killed, so he gets fired. The new like president who comes up in his place essentially just passes everything over to Homelander.
I think he was the one that passed the verdict on Homelander's not guilty as well.
Yeah, he's like the Senate, like the head of the Senate guy, I think. So yeah, he just calls him up and says, "Yeah, I'm president now, so you can be." You know, he essentially gets what he wants. So he's. It's sort of like the military gets passed his way, or like the soups get made, like the new. It's like martial law, so they're just made like the up like.
And like there's like a cop in every town that's that's a soup kind of thing.
Yeah. So they kind of like essentially the soups are in charge of America.
Yeah.
So yeah, as part of that, they kidnap basically all of the boys there. So Kimiko and Frenchie get split up, and that's when you get Kimiko actually speaks for the first time.
Yeah, she shouts no.
Yeah, so yeah, that's that very gut punch moment.
Did you see the soups? I haven't watched Gen V. You haven't either.
No.
But the soups that were there, the one that took Frenchie is from Gen V.
Yeah.
And I think the guy might be as well.
Yeah, they're because they're like I think the final survivors like the season or something, but they're the bad guys, I think, in that season. So like that, I need to watch Gen V, because especially I think I heard series 2 might tie in as like a gap filler between season 4 and 5. So if it's going to be more of like what the world looks like now under Homelander's like rule of America, then I feel like I need to watch it. They get split up. Huey and like Starlight get ambushed by. To be fair, I almost forgot she was in the show, like the Cindy,
the one from
season 2, who like who's like got kinesis, so she can like crush things. So yeah, they kidnap Huey. Starlight like flies away because she's finally like mastered her power. Mother's Milk gets arrested at the airport, so they're all like
buy that one with the really long penis as well.
Love sausage.
Yeah.
They love
really love just making MM's life dreadful.
No, he does not get away. He doesn't get away with the gross out stuff, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
The only one who gets off like scot free at the moment is Butcher. Because he's basically gone off with this soup killing virus, which they've been trying to make the whole series. It's not quite strong enough to kill Homelander yet, but he does have a dose ready to use in some way.
Yes. So
it's him driving off inside the Nightfall with Joe Kessler still in his mind, like, you know, it's all about the wheel with him. So yeah, it's just like, what's Butcher going to do? I do wonder where he will go, like in terms of his plan, because it will just be him and like Kessler as such, I guess, and moving forward, like making their plan. So whether it's kind of like in the future the boys, you know, obviously they'll like escape or something from wherever they're going to go. So, you know, whether they're going to like be fighting Homelander and Butcher, like trying to sort of like all the plans try and coincide and stuff like that. I'd be interested to see. I'm really interested to see where, like, how the boys get out and stuff, because I imagine they're going to go to like the prison camps they mentioned like earlier on in the series. Whether Kimiko's going to go there because she's like a soup, so whether they got like soup detention centers, so it's like everyone's gonna have to get out and like rejoin. Starlight's obviously on her own.
That's the only one that got free, so we can assume that Starlight's maybe going to help them get out. But A-Train
will help.
A-Train is definitely going to have to come back into it, because he's had his whole like kind of redemption arc thing, and like, you know, he's seen what it's like to be like an actual superhero now, and he said like that felt better than anything he'd done at a Vought for like years. So he's definitely going to come back into it. I think he's probably going to sacrifice himself.
That's what I thought he was going to do that this series, because like it's like he says the whole hero stuff, I think, in like episode 6 or 7. So I was like, yeah, A-Train's gonna like come back in the finale and like die, but no, he's
But
gone.
they're saving him for something big in season 5, I reckon.
Yeah, so something's gonna happen. It's all gonna kick off there. I mean, like Homelander, he's kind of like, what's his plan next though? Like, is America not going to be enough for him? Is he going to go?
Well, that's what Sage said. It's like that was just phase 1.
Yeah, so it's again like
it's just world domination is what she's thinking, I reckon.
That's because like again as well, is it going to be like a big twist of like, because Sage can in a way manipulate like Homelander. So whether it's going to be, because I think they make like a whole Julius Caesar comparison, like he wants an empire. So is it going to be Sage just going to betray and like kill Homelander? Maybe you never.
I don't think they'll make her kill him.
I imagine it'll be Butcher like kill. They got to do something with
or
like
Huey maybe somehow.
No, it's always been like Butcher and like Homelander have been like the two opposites, especially like Ryan as well. So what they're going to do there? I mean, I think it's going to have to somehow be. Maybe Butcher's going to fight Homelander once, then like the whole like tentacle thing's not going to work. Maybe it's still like, oh no, I'm still too weak. He'll like somehow have his inner demons with like Joe Kessler, like whether that's like the tumor gets removed or if it's like a whole, he gets Joe Kessler out of his mind so he can actually control it himself. I don't know, but like, something's going to happen there so he like frees himself from Joe Kessler's influence maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like Becca comes back into it and like starts serving as the angel again. Will he kill Ryan? Like, will Ryan help him fight Homelander? It's a bit, especially because like Soldier Boy's back in it now, as well. So like, you wonder what's going to happen there. I almost thought in my mind it'd be interesting because like Soldier Boy, obviously he didn't raise like Homelander or anything. He like says in season 3, I always wanted a son of my own, someone I can like raise and make them better. Whether he like almost does that for like Ryan, like kind of does like a grandfather thing, and like maybe that causes tension between him and Homelander, like, hey, that's my son, not yours. Because like, it's like the threat's quite big really, because you got like Homelander, you got Soldier Boy, who are like the two strongest superheroes in the world. So it's like, what are they gonna do to like get rid of them? So I just the stakes are high. The stakes are really high. So what they're gonna, how they're actually going to defeat these and like take the superheroes on.
It'll be very interesting to see what they'll do from here, because season 5 is confirmed to be the final season, isn't it?
Yeah, which has made like this series as a whole like justified in its way, because it's essentially set up for. Yeah. If you didn't know that series 5 was going to be the last one, you'd be like, well, what the hell was like that for? That sort of thing. But at least it makes sense. But it's all the directions it could go. Like I've kept up to date with like how the comics go into, but like the series has steered quite far off some bits of the comics, but then there's still some bits it could definitely
incorporate.
Yeah, so like again, so that could be really interesting. But yeah, I really don't know. There's too many characters. Like, what's everyone going to do? What do you think Ashley's done? Because Ashley injected herself with Compound V. She got powers. Like,
I mean, something was happening with her head as well. I don't think she's got the tumor that Butcher has, but I wonder if she's going to be like, I don't know.
I've seen something
like MODOK.
I've seen some things say like when adults take it like kind of in hand, like take stuff from your personality. So I don't know whether like people are saying with Ashley, because her whole thing is she gets stressed and she like pulls her hair out, whether she will just like kind of grow hair and like I don't know, or like the hair will become like her power kind of thing. Like maybe she can control like her hair strands and stuff. Yeah. Or whether like, because again, she's like, her whole thing is she's like a survivor. She'll like mess people over, like betray people. So whether she just becomes like really durable or something, I don't know. So it'd be interesting because they leave that, you don't know what her power is. So, but she'll be found and I guess still work for Homelander or betray them. I don't
know if she'll go. I don't know that she'll still work in Vought, because
I think her and the Deep have kind of thing, don't they? Like in terms of like they don't like each other. Like the Deep hates.
Well, that's why the Deep said that to put Ashley on the list, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you really don't know, because I mean, there's they got to like kill these characters off. So you know, like who's going to kill who? Will Starlight kill the Deep? Will Ashley kill the Deep?
I reckon Starlight will kill the Deep.
Yeah, because I mean, A-Train's not evil, so it's not like I would have said Huey would kill like A-Train, but then they're good. They're actually good now. So it'd be interesting to see where, like, just who dies, who lives. Will it be a happy ending?
No.
Yeah,
Undoubtedly, no.
I was saying this to Isaac. I just hope to God they don't fumble it. Like, I can't be dealing with another Game of Thrones like final season. I've been through it once. I can't go through it again. So hopefully the boys has like a satisfying-ish conclusion. If they want to continue like like Gen V or like stuff like expanding on that universe, but maybe the Billy Butcher saga like comes to an end. I don't know. Just honestly, what in terms of like this season, then like, what would you sort of say like your overall thoughts are? Was it overwhelmingly positive? Was it all right? Was it bad? Like, what would you say in terms of like series 4?
It wasn't as good as season 3. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, I would say positive. Overall,
Would this be a go watch? Like, still a go watch it for like? Yeah, I'd still say go watch it.
yeah. I mean, you can't judge like bits of this season, like say, oh, I'm not gonna watch the last season of The Boys now because this season was bad. Like because it wasn't bad. It just, when you've got a show of this quality, when it dips slightly into kind of the mediocre bits, it gets that much worse. Like, it doesn't become mediocre; it becomes like really bad. Because people will just have such high expectations for the show, and
I think definitely for like, as you say, like The Boys is a good show anyway. The only thing that this probably scuffs in some bits is just some bits of the writing, like as a flow, like for the season. Like the last 2 episodes carried it, like in terms of like raising the stakes and stuff like that. Like, I think they did a really good job, but there are a few episodes where you're kind of like, what are we doing here?
it's like filler.
Yeah, like it's like kind of the first, maybe like episode 2 and 3, and then like episode 6, like episode 5 and 6 or something. Like, they kind of feel like, what are we actually doing here? Can we actually go on to some significant things, please? But yeah, I think on the whole, still a good season. Again, it is all set up, so it kind of almost like the Doom Part 1 situation. If season 5 is crap, then you'll be like, well, what did season 4 lead up to?
Yeah.
Because at least then, like, go rewatch season 1, 2, and 3, because at least they kind of have like their own. I feel like every other season has like its own ending, so it could be, this could end here, you could stop watching it. But season 4 and 5 are, they're tied together, so maybe it could be good, maybe it could be bad. But who knows?
We will hope for good things on the horizon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till like 2026, I imagine. So who knows? That was our thoughts on The Boys season 4. Next episode, we're going to be reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, so sticking on the R-rated superhero theme. So next week we'll see you. There'll be me, Tulip, and Kieran. Tulip's not here this week just because she doesn't like The Boys. That's the simple answer. But
what can we say?
But next week we'll all be here. We'll be an assembled trio again. So we will see you guys in the next episode.